Good evening, everyone. How are you? I hope you are all doing good. So if you want, you can turn on your camera, say hi. Like usual, we're going to wait a few minutes for everybody to come. Hi, Julia.
Hello.
And hi. And meanwhile, I'll keep on checking for people coming, so we will have 5 minutes maybe until everybody is here. I have with me our presenter today, Faith, and while we're waiting for everybody to join, Faith is going to just check up on sharing the screen, and then after 5 minutes, we start, and I give her the floor. You can say hi in the chat too. It's still not visible, uh, Faith.
Is there a way I can send it to you?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I think that's a better option because I really don't
Right.
understand what's going on. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
sure. Oh, thank you, Zia. I was asking how was your week so far? And I was saying that I see some regular faces here, and it's amazing. We're having a solid community. All right, ladies. Munich, okay. All right. Hmm. It's been raining all the time here in Brussels, but just these few days it started to be like okay, you know. But it's Brussels. It's always raining and it's always very cold.
I think we have it now. I sent it. I can see you on the
Yeah,
slides.
I'm
Okay,
trying to upload it. Yeah.
okay. I just think it's my because I tried it yesterday and I really
Yeah,
don't know what's
sometimes
going
these things happen, so no
on. Yeah.
problem.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, it's good. We're still waiting for everybody to be here. Um, Berlin, okay. India, nice. Okay. Faith, could you click on take control? Do you have that on top?
Okay, let me look at that. Yes, I do.
Okay,
I
could you
have
click
it.
on that? And you have
Yeah, I
it now,
do.
right? Okay, great.
Yes.
So could you see if you can like change from one slide to another? That way I could give it to you like 100%.
I just moved to the next slide. I don't know what you can see. Can you see the next slide?
It's moving now, but it's going
Okay.
slower.
Okay.
Okay, it's moving.
Okay, that
I
works.
think it moves, but it just takes a little bit of time. So you have to give it 1 minute to change for us. All right.
Okay.
So I think it's time. I see that almost everybody is here. We will still have people coming in. All right, so ladies, I have the amazing Faith with me today. And fun fact about Faith, she has been with us in the mentorship program. And I'm happy to see her evolving and doing things that are different each time. So, Faith, I'm going to leave you the floor. I'll be here to help as usual. And give me the cue when it's time for the Mentimeter. Thank you.
Okay, I will. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today. My name is Faith. I prefer to go by my middle name just so that I don't forget where I'm from sometime in the future. But our webinar title today is Firewall Up, Doubts Down. It's basically developing a personal toolkit for yourself, which I think every woman needs, saying that we work in a very male-dominated field. So we'll be looking at that today. And I just hope that this is a conversation starter for all of us to sort of like think deeply and see what we're carrying through for the entirety of our careers. It's not just moving from one job to another. It's, legacy that we're building, even as just like security analysts, security engineers, security architects, any roles that we have within like the tech space. So that's why I think this is sort of like important for us to look through. So we'll just dive in. A little bit about myself. I moved to the next slide. I know that Manuel says it takes a while, but I hope you guys can see it now. So with Faith, Faith is a cybersecurity analyst. That's the role that I got into when I joined cybersecurity in Estonia a few years ago. I'm originally from Africa, but I moved to Estonia, and now I've moved to the US to pursue a doctorate in computer science. So that's the brief about me. Today, this is all the agenda that we have. We're going to have an interactive activity because I want the webinar to be as fun as we can have it. Because I think I'm going to enjoy myself doing this. I did say to Manuel a few days ago that I didn't know I was going to enjoy this as much as I do now. So yeah, we're just going to go with the flow, working our way down the agenda. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. We want to understand the dynamics of what a security operations center is. How is it different from like other security teams and services? We also want to look at removing personal bias, so that we're able to collaborate with other people, not just women, men, anyone in your space. Having that opportunity to collaborate with each other makes the work easier, and also embracing the power of collaborative society. We'll have an interactive activity after that, and then we'll move to the last two topics, which are applying yourself beyond the buzzword and what you take to your next role. Then we'll have Q&A and some final thoughts from everyone, which I'm looking forward to hearing. So who needs a survival toolkit? Yes, good question. Everyone needs a survival toolkit, especially as women in this field. Whether you're in the front line or you're working as a SOC manager, you're leading teams, or you're in the architectural department, you need to have your own toolkit to enable you know how you're responding faster, how you're getting your job done, how you're acting with confidence. Otherwise, it might be hard to realize how much value you bring to the team if you're not tracking your progress or not having a little bit of self-reflection and always listening to the voice that says, oh, I don't think you can do this, or I don't think you should do that. So this is quite important for all of us, and we'll have an activity so that we see how we can develop our personal survival kits. So I think we're now going to hand over to Manuel for the interactive session. Thank you, Manuel.
Yes, thank you, Faith. So, ladies, I'm going to share with you. Please, could we keep the background noises by keeping mute? So I'm going to share with you the one prepared by Miss Faith for you. And here we go. Let me know when you can see it. You can see it, I guess, right? Everyone? Yeah? Okay, great. Okay. So it says you are stuck on a gender imbalanced island and you will start your adventure. So Faith, do you want to take it from here, like reading, or I should continue? What do you prefer?
I think you can go ahead because I cannot
All right,
see it.
thank you. Yay, I'm presenting too. Okay. So luckily you're allowed to bring few essential tools that not only help you survive, but also bring balance, perspective, and diversity that our cyber island truly needs. But what will you bring? I think for the ones who cannot see it, it's because maybe you are using your phone to connect, because it will be hard for you if you're using your phone, because Mentimeter doesn't work on phone. So there is here a, if you can see, oh, I see that some of you say that they cannot see it. All right, the code. I'm gonna just copy the code for you. Here we go. And let me know if it works. I will wait for you a little bit so we start together. There is also on the, oh, great, so it works. Let me see if it works for the rest of the ladies. So for Zia, it's working. There is also QR code. So use the QR code. All right, great. So it's working for the ladies. Happy to hear. Okay, great. All right, so let's continue our all right, so here we go. What will you bring? Please join the Menti using the QR code. So it works for you, right? Okay, so the next slide says cybersecurity survival kit. The situation is not good. Everyone is stranded on this cyber island where it's a gender imbalanced island, and each person is allowed to bring only 3 objects. So you're going to choose one item that you consider essential from each of the following categories. So Faith prepared for us categories, and for each category you have the right to choose just one that to you it seems essential. All right? Let's go. The first one, it says, what object would you bring? Now we are talking about soft skills. This is the first category. So Faith provided you with a soft skill box and said, here you go, you only have to choose one of these 4. So please vote on the one that you think is the most important one for you to take with you on this gender imbalanced island, the island of cybersecurity. I see that some of you started voting. I'm going to read out loud the options. So there is adaptability in fast changing threat landscapes, which equips you women to thrive in evolving technical settings, embracing change with flexibility and resilience. So for each one, you will see that Faith puts the title and the explanation. So that way, when you choose what are you taking with you, you're aware why or what are you choosing. We have emotional intelligence, we have clarity and calm in communication, and we have assertiveness in incident briefing. And I see that each time you vote, it changes. And we can see which one you're choosing. Is it also clear for all of you which one is being chosen the most? You can see how it's in real time moving. Okay, great. All right. I think the results are clear. So the ladies has chosen adaptability in fast-changing threat landscape, and equips women to thrive in evolving technical settings and embracing change with flexibility and resilience. Tatiana, did you choose also, did you use the QR code, or did you use the code that I shared the code and the link here for you to be able to get to Mentimeter too, even by the phone? All right, and the second place, it's for clear and calm communication because it enables women to lead with poise and credibility during incident or crisis, reinforcing trust with their teams. Emotional intelligence comes third, and assertiveness comes fourth. All right, we move to the next box. Yes, please. Could we please keep muted because we hear background noises? Thank you. All right, next one. All right, this box that Faith is giving you is full of technical skills. So choose one that you will take with you, and this will be your object number 2 to your island where it's everything stranded and it's gender imbalanced. So we have the first one. Take your time to read and then vote. I'm reading meanwhile. We have threat hunting techniques. We have digital forensics. We have mastery of threat detection. I see that. Oh, this one is a little bit fluctuating. Oh, nice. Okay. It's great also to see the ladies voting on real time. Okay, nice. All right. So by far, incident response. Oh, no. Okay, so digital forensics. Oh, okay. I'll wait a bit because the voting is changing very fast. Okay. Digital forensics goes back to first place. I think it's still battling with incident response. Okay. Now I feel like the footballers, commenters, you know? All right. Okay. So I think the ladies finished voting, and we have first place digital forensics and incident analysis. It draws on strong attention to details, patterns, and investigative skills, areas where women often excel. And then we have incident response coordination because it combines organization, leadership, and communication skills. Many women bring it naturally into the complex scenarios. Third place for threat hunting techniques, and fourth place for SIEM, mastery of for threat detection. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm not a technical person, so. All right, we go to the next one that Miss Faith prepared for us. And she said this one box is about support systems. So go ahead, choose one you'll take from this box with you. We have guidance from mentors, cybersecurity peer communities, healthy rest habits, and LinkedIn. And we will see what would you take with you as support system on this island. Okay. Nice. Oh, it's changing fast. Okay. Mentors are winning today, I guess. All right. Guidance from mentors offers personalized support and encouragement, helping women navigate challenges and career decisions. So this comes in first place. Currently, the vote is still happening, but I see that cybersecurity peer communication, like using Slack groups, building connection, shared learning, and sense of belonging, helping women feel seen and supported. It's come in second place. Third place, we have healthy rest habits. helps women sustain success by protecting well-being, managing stress, and maintaining balance in demanding cybersecurity field. I think this goes for every field in women's lives, healthy rest and habits. And the last one is LinkedIn, comes in fourth place. Now we find the lovely lady at the end, and she's telling us that women began to reshape the cyber island, and not just to survive, but to lead, to protect, and to inspire. What was once an imbalanced, uncertain space becomes a place where women in cybersecurity can thrive, grow, and support one another, a place where diverse voices shape the future, and every contribution leaves the island stronger than before. So here, my mission is finished. I'll leave it back to the captain. So thank you. Faith, I think you can take it back from here.
Okay, thank you. I'll have to request for control. I
Yeah,
think we have to share it again.
yeah, I'm doing that. I'm just gonna
Okay,
leave you to comment
thank
on that
you.
while I put it back.
Okay. Thank you everyone for participating in the quiz. It's really great to see that most people selected digital forensics for the technical one, especially because most people come into cybersecurity without even having a background in cybersecurity or in tech, and then they just come in. So I know that's one of like the most interesting parts of cybersecurity, being able to have like skills for digital forensics. But it also tells that this woman or all of us, we pay strong attention to details. I know that there's a lot of talk about rest and reset, and sometimes it can feel like a cliche. But as women, it's actually very important that we get the rest that we need. Seeing that our I say this humorously amongst my friends. Our hormones are trying to kill us, which they're not trying to, but some days it feels like that. So it's great to actually take the time out and rest and don't, make sure that our bodies are able to do the task that we need them to do when they're supposed to. Yeah, so I didn't take control, Manuel. So I think we're back. I can only see your screen. I don't see the screen anymore.
Yes, I think it's uploading again. Can you see it?
Yes. Can I? Okay, I do now. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. So we're back. So why security centers? Why security operations centers? Why are they important? I think because generally SOCs are quite different from like the broader cybersecurity ecosystem. Because it's a very fast-paced environment. It's different from other teams and all because you can actually tell in the SOC that you're dealing with mission critical systems. They're real time, and so there has to be that operational focus. In some SOCs, they do have like centralized visibility. And then because the SOC is usually like a team of different groups, like you have the engineering team, you have the analyst team. Um, it's it allows for that cross-functional integration among just the people, but also like within processes and technologies that we do. There's a lot of training that goes into working in the SOC. Even while you start to work in the Security Operations Center, there are different tools that you have to learn. For example, you might have like a new um, network detection and response tool that you have to learn how to use. So that in itself is challenging yourself to always be, at the forefront of learning what's new. But there are also different types of SOCs, and depending on the kind of SOC you're working in, you might have more tools to play around with and all. I worked with a managed SOC, so we were a security operations center, and we're providing services to different organizations. So think third-party MSSP. So there are lots of customer environment that we're monitoring, and it's like a circle. And then, you always have to provide that service 24/7, around the clock, around the year. But there are also different SOCs, like hybrid SOC, which is where they do have like a combination of internal and external security personnel. And then we have like a virtual SOC, which is just like a cloud-based SOC. I think the biggest one, or the most like resource intense security operations center, is the command SOC, because it's working across multiple operational SOCs, and it's quite big and all. Then there's also a fusion center, which is just like having both the physical aspect of security, um, the threat intelligence, risk, fraud, all of that unit under the same SOC center being provided. So it takes a lot of intentionality to succeed in this kind of role, because you're seeing other people doing different stuff, but you also want to learn all of that, so you're able to take it to your next role. So one of the things that we need to have in our SOC toolkit, as women, is to remove personal bias, and put in embracing collaboration. So you take your personal bias out, and you put your embracing collaboration into your SOC toolkit. There's a saying by Alex Omorzi that I put up here that says you can't fully collaborate if you're second guessing your value. And that's not something you're the only one that struggles with. I think that only people who have an exaggerated sense of self-esteem or self-worth from birth do not go through times when there's like a bias. It doesn't even have to be like self-doubt. It's just a human challenge that we all carry, right? So the goal is to know what that bias that you have is, and to eliminate it, so that you can show up as your very authentic and confident self within the SOC team, regardless of the gender disparity in that space. So I'll just share a quick story about myself and how personal bias would have limited me from trying to go into the SOC. But before I go on to that, if you see on the slide, we're talking about having that subtle self-doubt. And I do hear people say, oh, in cybersecurity, you feel like you don't know anything. And that's because it's actually a very broad field. 1 minute you're dealing with a threat, and another minute there's a new threat. Like, you haven't heard anything about it before. You have to now be on top of your game, and you don't want to sound like you don't know anything. So the other thing is the fear of sounding inexperienced, which is the bias that many women deal with. They don't want to seem like, oh, have I just said the wrong thing? Have I outed myself that I don't know as much as I should know for this role that I'm working in? And there's also the part where you're holding back ideas, because when you work with, like, in these teams, like, I think for almost a year, I was the only female SOC analyst in my team. Although it was a small team, but like, think about like having, I think we had like, I cannot put an accurate number to the amount of men on that team, but I was the only woman for a few. And then we had like an engineering team, and there was also just one woman on that team. So it did feel like sometimes you're in meetings, and then you're hearing men, around you, and they're speaking. And I think something that women can leverage on is the willingness of these men to help you, because I did enjoy that support from them, and being able to just, have them ask of my own opinion for certain things, help to just, remove that doubt that I think I was having at some point. Yeah, so I'll tell the story when we move to the next slide. Another bias that people have is, or women might have, is deciding they don't want to do something, but what you're deciding you don't want to do, you haven't even tried it. You haven't researched it. You don't know anything about it. You just don't I don't think I can do it. I'm not interested in it. I don't feel like I can do it. So backstory, before I decided to go to Estonia to go study e-governance technologies and services, which is where I got like my introduction into cybersecurity. I didn't want to go into IT. Now, for my bachelor's, I studied information resources management, which is partly IT, but I just didn't think I was cut out for a career in information technology. I remember having conversations with a friend who was supporting, oh, just go and do IT. I'm like, I'm not interested. I don't think this is what I want to do. And eventually I went for it, right? The funny thing is I didn't do any research to say, why do I not want to do this? What's the bias that I'm having, and why is that stopping me from progressing or entering into this new field? I didn't even understand the amount of opportunities that was available to me in the tech space at the time. But what brought me here was when I did enter for my master's program, we had to take a cybersecurity introductory course. Um, and there was a book that was like the text that was sent out to the students to read. And I didn't have a laptop at the time, which is weird because I had a laptop and I did not have a laptop. So follow me on this story. But I had a phone, and because I lived like a few minutes away from university, about 20 minutes, 25 minutes bus ride, I would look at the text that I had downloaded on my phone and read it. And so I started to read the one for cybersecurity, which is No Tech Hacking by Johnny Long, rather, excuse me. And just reading the book, I started to see myself in it. And I was like, oh, I already do this with friends. I already tell friends from way back in high school, oh, this is a Ponzi scheme, this is a scam. And I just started to open myself to that career path. And the rest, they say, is history. Now, if you see the screen, I put a picture of sushi because sometimes people are like, oh, I don't like sushi because it's raw fish. That's not always true. Sushi is not exclusively raw fish, but because people have come with that bias of I'm not going to try this. This is what people say about it. They're not even going to try it. So I think a bias to remove from our life is giving up on something we haven't even tried. Just go and research it. Find out, is this something I'm interested in? Can I excel in this field? Don't just take other people's word for it. It could be one week of spending 1 hour listening to a podcast about that topic. It could be reading an article once in a week and saying, okay, I'm going to see if I like this or not. But do find out for yourself if you like it or not before deciding you don't like it, because the very thing you're created for could be the very thing you're afraid to try, right? And if you don't try, you never know. So that's why when you remove your personal bias, you have to fill it in with collaboration, right? So when I think of collaboration, I think of it as the oil. When you're oiling a wheel, that's the only reason the wheel is going to move well. That's why it's going to work. And so the best way to embrace collaboration is understanding that in the cybersecurity field, the threats are collective. Hackers are not getting up and closing their shop at 5 p.m. There, they have all the time, especially when we think about like state-sponsored actors, they have all the time. So and most of them have the resources to do what they are doing. And so the attacks that will come, even in the future, are because like you've had them, had some sort of like collective um, interest to decide who they want to attack. So the same way when you're resolving these threats, incidents, it has to be collective. The solutions have to be collective. If you don't embrace collaboration, you will run yourself into a space where you're very, very burnt out. And cybersecurity operations centers also have something that we call alert fatigue. Because there's a 24/7 monitoring, you're just having alerts in your faces. most of the time they're just false positives. There's nothing to do, but there's just a great ton of alerts being churned out, and that alert fatigue might affect women and men alike. But also, if you do have like a priority to embrace collaboration, you find that you can speak to your colleagues, you can, get some input from them, and it takes away the burnout. You don't have to do everything by yourself in this space, right? Um, I think also when we look at collaboration, the goal is to start very small. Maybe one woman in your circle, someone on the team that you want to, gain some insight from them. Like I used to humorously say to my mentor from work. So before I got into the mentorship that we're running here, I did, right from when I started working at Vital Systems, I was assigned a buddy for my onboarding process. And shout out to Ago. I don't think he's going to watch this, but I would say, please, I need to pick your brain because you need collaboration to succeed. There's so much happening in the SOC, and just having shared learning helps us, achieve the goal faster than we need to. So that's one thing to always look into, that while you're taking away your self bias, there's something to replace it with, and it's the power of collaborative security. We're going to do a quick exercise. If you guys are up for it, I think you guys are. You've been an amazing audience so far. So we'll do a quick check-in, bias check-in, and if you could just put in the chat if you've had a recent moment where you refused or you didn't want to speak up during like an alert discussion, or you pulled back from taking ownership of your work or particular incident session. If you could put in the chat, what story did you tell yourself? What was the thing that you said to yourself that made you say, I don't think anybody wants to listen to me? Maybe, I don't have anything to say. Maybe I don't think I know a lot about this topic. If you could just share what story you said to yourself in chat. I don't know if anything is coming in chat. I'll check now again.
Not yet. Not yet. But ladies,
Okay.
please, if you could answer the question here on the chat, or you can just raise your hand and we will give you the speech. So the question says, what story did you tell yourself in that moment? And the moment is you did not speak up during an alert discussion, or you hesitated to lead or take ownership. Okay, so you said maybe I don't have much knowledge about the topic. I said maybe this is a bit stupid to ask. I said I should wait a bit if someone else thought about it. I said that I might be wrong. Okay. I hear lots of imposter syndrome, intrusive thoughts here because I have the exact same thoughts myself too.
Yeah. But your thoughts are not actually always the truth. And
Right.
so that's something that I think about. Sometimes you have to just numb that voice. You have to ignore it because it's not the truth. The thing about men, there's a book that I've read. I can't really remember the name of the author now. She's a female tech leader. I think she was before. It's called Lean In, and it talks about how women will not necessarily go and apply for a role because they don't meet all the requirements on the role. But men would go and take the bull by the horn. They would apply for it. They will insert themselves there, whether they feel like they know all of it or they don't know all of it. But you see women who would know so much about a topic and then we're still having to deal with, oh, I feel like, like someone said in the chats, it's something everyone expects me to know already. I'm wrong. Sometimes you're even looking at like you're looking at people in there and you're feeling like, oh, maybe somebody thinks I don't know enough or I should know. So I see all of those answers in chat, and I want to remind you that your thoughts are not always your own. Sometimes it's an influence from maybe things you've heard, things you've read, or just your inner critic playing games with you. But it takes an um, um, intentional process for us to take that thought out and fill it in with something more like, oh yes, this is what I know about the topic and I'm willing to share it. Or what do you think about what I'm about to share? You could share your input as a question to like your other colleagues that you feel like know more than you. But once you take your self-bias out, be ready to go for whatever you think you know. It doesn't matter if you don't know all of it. There's a saying that I think we're going to the next slide. Someone's mic is on. If they could please turn it off.
Let's try. Let's
Okay.
try. I always have to. It's okay. It's a
MC,
cybersecurity.
please could you turn your mic off, please? Thank you. Um, okay, thank you. And so as we were discussing earlier, it's just once you can take that self-bias out and you can be more confident, like there is no reason to doubt yourself, even if the voice in your head says you don't know a lot, you don't know enough. Men don't actually know all of the intricacies of all alerts and threads. Nobody knows everything, right? Where I come from, and I know it's a poem by John Donne. It's titled "No Man is an Island," but where I come from in Nigeria, it's something that people say loosely to mean that you can't do it all by yourself. So as we embrace collaboration, we also have to embrace the fact that we do know some things, if not everything, and we're allowed to share the little that we know while we're building on knowing much more than that at that moment, right? So thank you everyone for participating in the exercise. We'll move on to the next slide, which is applying yourself. And applying yourself is a concept that I always say to when I have the opportunity to talk to people coming into tech, younger people, or just in generally advising people in life, I always say apply yourself. And what I mean by apply yourself is go beyond showing up. So there's a difference between you work as a SOC analyst, you work as a security engineer, and then applying yourself. What applying yourself means is that you're going beyond the task. You're asking yourself, okay, what can I bring into this position that would make me stand out in my next position, right? You're going deeper into the alerts. You're looking at your documentation and saying, is there a way I can improve how I document my investigation? Um, is there a way I could, look at what other people are doing and see how I could improve in that space, right? You're also offering processing improvement. You're spending the time to think deeply about the processes in the organization so that you can offer improvements. I think sometimes why people don't have anything to say in meetings is because once it's 5 p.m. and the work is done, most people are not applying themselves, right? They're not thinking, okay, what can we do better on the team? I'm going to acknowledge that I did have a colleague at some point that was always bringing inputs to our process improvements meeting. And I think that they spend time outside of work thinking about how can I improve it. I'm not saying don't have like a work-life balance, but applying yourself is what makes you stand out. So applying yourself could also mean that you're reading the documentation. So if you're in the analyst team, there could be situations whereby engineers just create the threat detection and they throw it to the analyst team. So sometimes you don't even know why the threat detection is there. Why are we having a new alert? Nobody knows, but it's there. That's if they even tell you why there's a new alert, you have to dig deeper by yourself. You want to read the entire logic behind that alert. You also want to read security documentation. I know like sometimes it's so fast paced while you're trying to understand Azure, there's AWS. There, while you're trying to understand AWS, there's Oracle Cloud. there's GCP, there's so much. But in between all of that, you find a few minutes in a day to say to yourself, I want to understand what's happening at the back end. You also want to jump on new tools, new initiative, so that you can build personal capacity, right? Because this is what you take to your next role. Now let's look at an example that is everywhere now. Everyone is talking about artificial intelligence, right? Applying yourself as an example to artificial intelligence is saying to yourself, this is artificial intelligence and it's very broad. There is AI governance, there is threat detection in AI cybersecurity, there is data policy, data prevention, loss automation in cybersecurity. Applying yourself is now saying to yourself, so that I don't fall in the crowd of everyone just using the buzzword AI, 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 what part of AI can I infuse into my career that will make me stand out? So that's what applying yourself is. And then you do that research and say, okay, I'm going to try and, apply myself in this area, because you cannot learn everything. You cannot become everything, but you can strategically position yourself so that when new technological trends come out, you're not lagging behind. So that's how applying yourself would work in this scenario. And so it's also good that while you're applying yourself, you're thinking that this is your legacy. This is what you have. It's not just you're getting paid to do your job. This is what you're going to take to your next role. If you look at the next slide, we talk about what you're taking to your next role. Everything that you do in your present job, whether you're working as a security analyst or you're working as a public relations person who's trying to get into IT, that's what you're going to take to your next role. The ability to speak to a customer and design maybe like their bio for them if you're working in public relations or media is what you will take. And so you have to make sure you're tracking that. You could have a document showing you what you're doing, like a career strategy document, and you just put things in. And for your toolkit, when you think about what you're taking to your next role, you're taking your precision in judgment, right? You now know how to look at an alert, and within the first 20 minutes, you know where to go to, what tool you're looking at, how you're going to investigate it, what logs you need. You're taking your personal style of walking through an incident. I don't think any two analysts will have the same style of investigating. I mean, it happens that when you onboard somebody, they sort of like follow your flow on how you investigate and all of that. But as time goes on, they develop their own individual incident response style. You also take the relationships that you've built. Oh my God, I cannot explain how my life sort of changed when we had two more women join the team. Sometimes you don't know what you're missing till you have it. The minute that there were other women that joined the team, I saw that we started to form like good relationships that we've even taken out of the job. I know that there's a lot of talk about, when you get to your job, you're not there to make friends and all of that. But you never know where you're going to find a gold mine, right? That's not to say just not have your personal life private and all of that, but it's also important that you're taking that along with you. You're building that relationship and you're improving yourself. So that's your legacy. That's what you take to your next role, right? Are you calmer under pressure after working in this position? You can check yourself on that. You can ask yourself things like, the last time I had this sort of case to work on, was I feeling a different kind of way? Did I feel like a lot of pressure? Was I confused on where to start? Um, how are your log analytics skills? How are you able to process the logs that you get? What document are you creating so that when you leave the organization, a new analyst comes and they see your name on the documentation and they can actually say, oh, I see that Faith created this documentation. Faith created this guide. That's your legacy. That's what you take to you. Your career is very compound. And so when you start investing deliberately, like knowing what you're putting in your toolkit, what you need to take out of what you already have, you start to see yourself blossom and develop fully in that field. So I think that's what matters the most. Yes. If we go to the next slide, I think we're just going to have like a quick summary of some of the things that we've touched here. Apart from the quiz that we took in the beginning, I think you can also think of having confidence to speak despite your bias as an important thing to put in your own toolkit. And like I said in the beginning, this is just a conversation starter so that you can think of what do I need to put in my toolkit, have a self-reflection and see what do I need to take out of my toolkit. Another thing as women that we get a bad PR for, which is not always true, is that, oh, women are so emotional. That's not always true. I've met some of the most tactical women. What's the other word to use? Intentional, not in a hurry, not hasty, to make decisions. I've met women that are that way. So I don't think it's women are always emotional. And if you're an emotional woman, there is a way to work with it. You can keep your emotions at home. The emotions that sort of make you feel like, oh, they said something to me today. I feel like I'm not good enough. Those are the emotions to drop at home, not emotional intelligence that makes you stand out and you're able to become an asset to your organization. Bad emotions like yes, exactly like women are nonchalant. Thank you, Dennis. You know, those emotions where you think, oh, because I walk around with men, they're against me, they do this. You're here and you're here to win regardless of who likes you or who doesn't like you, right? So those emotions, you can drop them at home. You can drop your self-doubt every morning, keep it at home, and then you go to work and you show up as your authentic self. Commitment to depth and not just delivery. It's not about how many alerts you can resolve in a day. You know, it's how much depth do you have? How are you like growing? And lastly, we also looked at the legacy of input, not just output, because at the end of the day, whether you leave cybersecurity and go start your own organization, or you decide to take a break to raise your kids, you've already built legacy, and that's what you're taking with you. So I think these are important points to just consider as we continue to grow in our career paths. And I think I'll ask for questions now if there are any. So I don't know if Manuel will.
Thank you so much, Faith. Thank you again for taking the time and for participating. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And I'm always so happy to see you here, and especially for the returning ones. And now this is like my favorite task that I'm doing at my job is the webinars. So I have shared with you a survey that helps me to do better at this job. One of the many tasks that I do is the webinar. So help me please improve at that. It's anonymous. You just have to answer the questions and you don't have to leave anything else. So it's time to ask Faith questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We will give you the floor. Or if you're not comfortable with speaking, you can just write it down. I will read it for Faith and she will get back to you with the answer. So, ladies, go ahead, please. We have Timilola. Yes, please. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Please correct me. You're muted. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I just had a quick question for Faith. I know you mentioned collaboration and all of that with people, with your peers and all of that. How important do you think being open to suggestions or ideas from people as someone with experience now, how important do you think it is to listen to someone who just came into, transitioned into the field? You know how there's a saying, no knowledge is wasted. But say I'm an experienced cybersecurity professional and someone is coming in from e-governance or something in policy. Someone is coming from GRC into the SOC environment. How important is it to sit down and actually listen to the ideas they have? Do you think it's a waste of time considering whatever they might be bringing might not be very important in the IT environment? Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. That's a wonderful question because sometimes experience can make us feel like we know too much. But then there's a saying that I often reach out to, is that a fool will learn from nobody, but a wise person will learn from a fool, right? So it's very important to realize that beyond they not having the experience in cybersecurity, wherever they've come from, there's something we as experienced cybersecurity professional can actually take and add to our arsenal. The more you get, the more you add to whatever you have. So I don't think it's a waste of time to hear their perspective. They might not have a technical perspective or might not have the right words technically, but they do have intelligence and knowledge from where they are coming from that needs to be, appreciated, regardless of even it not being technical. And different perspectives is the only reason why we can actually succeed as women in this field. Because another person's perspective might be different from yours, but is not completely irrelevant, right? I hope I answered the question.
Thank you, Faith. I have another question from Leah. So this is more a personal one for you. She said, did you find the SOC role very stressful? And if so, how did you deal with this stress?
Thank you, Leah. Yes, I did. Especially in the beginning. I have a video on my phone where I was sleeping on the floor. I put my mattress. I was in the hostel. I think I got employed. I started my job about a month towards the end of my thesis, submitting my thesis, my master's thesis. And so it was juggling two major things in my life. Just getting this job. I've never worked in cybersecurity. And I'm thrown into a SOC analyst position. I have to prove my worth. I have to prove that I deserve to be here. There's a reason why you hired me. And so all of those thoughts will just be there. So at some point, I have a video on my phone, which I did. And I was saying to myself, I will show it in the future because I had to put my mattress on the floor. I couldn't even get myself to get on the bed. I just put it on the floor. I'm like, this is where we're living. This is where we're breathing. Let us focus on what needs to be done. So it was very stressful. I remember my friends joking with me that when you started working in cybersecurity, you won't even have the time to talk to us because the only way I can rest and reset is to take some time for solitude for myself. That's what works for me personally. So I just run away from everything, take a weekend off, and I'm just relaxing my brain just so that I'm ready for the next week and all of that. So yes, it is stressful. It was stressful, but it's not anything that is not achievable. There's so much strength in women, and we only can harness that when we put ourselves in this seemingly difficult situations in the beginning, but there's nothing to be achieved in the comfort zone. So yeah, it was, I won't even lie about it. It was the absolute worst in the beginning. I felt like, oh my God, my head is going to explode. I have to learn all these tools. Yeah, so thank you.
All right, we have two more questions. Thank you so much, Faith. So we have a question from Christine. She said, what would you recommend to a person who wants to work in cybersecurity? And I think the last question we will take is from Toko. She's raising her hand. If you want, we can go with the question from Christine and then we leave the floor to Toko and we finish with her. So what would you recommend to a person who wants to start working in cybersecurity?
I think what I would recommend ideally is to explore all the aspects of cybersecurity and see which one fits well into your interest. Because cybersecurity is broad. You have the GRC part, you have security operations, you have data protection, data loss prevention, you have cybersecurity policies. So I think the best way to start is to start to listen to different podcasts or read articles that focus on cybersecurity, on different aspects of cybersecurity, and see which one you're interested in. There's sometimes where we give people the advice that if you're already coming from a non-technical background, go into GRC. And I think the more that I work in this field, I say that that's not a very great idea, because just because someone is from a non-technical background doesn't mean that they will not excel in a technical field, right? So the thing is to explore all the other parts of cybersecurity before you decide. I would also say reading like a few books would help, because what got me to think that I can be in cybersecurity was No Tech Hacking by Johnny Long. And it's a no technical hacking. And from there, I began to see myself in cybersecurity role. So yeah.
Thank you,
I think we'll
Faith.
take
Last
Toko now.
question. We go from Toko. Toko, could you please unmute yourself? And this is how we are ending today with your question. Can't.
No, I don't.
Okay. Sorry, Toko, we cannot hear you. Do you want to write it down, maybe? Also, ladies, if you want, you can connect. Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Great.
Hi. So thank you for the talk, Faith. I have a quick question. Like, what part of the toolkit helped you the most when you were just starting out in this journey?
For me, it was applying myself. That's what
Okay.
helped me the most. Yeah, it was applying myself. I made sure that I applied myself. I read for Security Plus. I didn't take the exam. I wasn't going to take the exam. I wanted the knowledge. I read for CISA, which is CYSA, not the CISA one, for security analyst. Just reading, and I started, oh yeah, I started by also joining. I don't know if anybody knows about Gerard Orge's cybersecurity YouTube channel. So we have like a daily briefing news on cybersecurity. So that's one thing that I also did. But applying myself was the one thing that I did a lot. If I were to start over again, would I do it the same way? I really don't know, but applying myself because I wanted to know as much as I could. I was picking people's brain in the office. If I didn't know something, I'm calling my the person who onboarded me. Shout out to Agro. And I'm like, please, can I pick your brain? I have this alert. I don't know what to do. So applying myself really worked. I would jump on tools that I've not used before, once they're introduced, just to get myself started. I would read documentation to understand how it's working on the back end or ask an engineer. So applying myself was the one thing in my toolkit that really, really helped me in the beginning.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, everyone. Thank you, Faith.
Manuel,
Yes.
sorry, before
Yeah.
we leave, I was going to put it in chat, but I am not
Yes.
able to put anything in chat. Somebody was asking for the name of the book.
Oh yeah,
So
please.
I was going to
You
put it in.
can send it to me if you want via email, and I will put it here.
Okay.
Meanwhile, thank you so much, Faith, again, for coming today and for being part of this. Ladies, thank you so much. I'm happy to see you every time, twice a month. And we have the last one for this month and for the season before we go to August break. We come back in September. By the way, we come back in September, and then in October, I have a big surprise for the webinar series. We are having an upgrade. So it's a big one. We have Nokia involved too, so I'll give more details later. And happy to see you again. And I'm going to share before we log out with you what Faith sent me. Faith, did you send it via email?
Yes, I just sent it by email. I
All right.
responded to the email you sent earlier.
Yes. Okay. So, ladies, thank you so much. And here we go, the name of the book. Have a wonderful evening. I hope to see you for the next one soon. Follow on LinkedIn, follow me, or follow Women for Cyber or Faith. You can follow Women for Cyber for the new date and the links for the upcoming webinars. Have a wonderful evening. Faith, I will give you the last
Thank
word
you.
before we just log out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for attending. I really enjoyed myself because it was so interactive. Thank you for the questions. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm open to any questions and any way that I can help. advance anyone's cybersecurity career journey. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. See you.